Hey, welcome to Brand Expand review. In this video, we're going to talk about Brand Expand. Guys help people on e-commerce go omni-channel. So they help people sell in different marketplaces, for example, such as Amazon or other marketplaces. And guys help increase conversion, sales, traffic to listings. Today, we're going to see how the technology works, how it can benefit you, the viewer. In the description, we're going to plug in a great offer for Brand Expand, and hopefully you'll be able to use it and hopefully get a good deal. It's going to be an affiliate link, means that if you ever do business with the guys, I'm going to get a commission from the deal, no extra cost to you. So thank you a lot for that. We're going to also talk about the pricing of Brand Expand today. And if you have any questions, ask them in the comments. Today with me, Seth, the founder, and Seth's going to run us kind of through how they can help sellers. And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting video. So Seth, man, good to have you here with us today. Good day to you.
Yeah, good chatting with you, Vova. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. And yeah, excited to jump in and talk more about Brand Expand and our journey and the technology that we have.
So like for those interested,
Mhm.
what is Brand Expand?
So Brand Expand is an e-commerce sales acceleration software. I guess you could call it a marketing technology. And we help drive sales from our large customer network to listings on Amazon, Walmart, Target, TikTok, Etsy, Chewy, really any marketplace that you're on. And you get a sale. We get feedback on the listing from our buyer network. They purchase the product, they provide proof of purchase, and then they give feedback on the post-delivery experience. So the product packaging, the quality of the product, any issues they may have had, so we can get in front of that before it may turn into a negative review. And all of that's summarized using AI and presented to the brand on their dashboard on Brand Expand. So the idea is to help not only search optimization on these marketplaces so that more organic customers can find the product, but also help the brand understand like how to improve their listing and their product quality to improve the overall experience of the customer. And that helps, of course, conversion rates. So you have sales with conversions, and that's kind of the one-two punch to brand growth.
So for example, if I have a listing on Amazon, right, that I recently launched or even previously launched, and I want to kind of increase rankings and kind of show Amazon that I have sales, then once I create an account in Brand Expand, I connect it to my Seller Central, so they kind of integrate together. And then through the platform, I'll be able to start this promotion only through the platform, or do I have to do anything in Seller Central?
So we don't connect to any API. So no SP API, no Walmart
Hmm.
API, none of that. We're a standalone
Hmm.
solution. All of our technology will pull the details through another service. And so like when you import your product, for example, we're pulling that details in. When you start your launch, like all of it's fully automated, but it doesn't require SP API integration, which a lot of sellers like because it's literally plug and play. You jump onto the platform, you import product, you can start a launch, push it live to our network in less than 10 minutes and start getting sales.
And these kind of sales, what does it mean? Like how these sales occur? Is it like a coupon code?
Sure.
Is it a discount? Like how does it happen?
Yeah, so there's two different ways. So we have the what we call organic launch. It's probably going to be split out into two separate launches soon, but we call it organic launch, and then we have a promo launch. The promo launch is using coupon codes, single use or group claim codes, essentially from Amazon, or we also do it for Etsy. And then the organic is going to be a cashbacks. So for the listing feedback on the product and the post delivery. And so when buyers purchase, they get a certain number of, we call them deal coins after the post delivery is done for doing that feedback. And then the brand, of course, pays for that in the form of what we call ACOS, ad cost of sale.
I guess we're gonna see that through the demo once we dive in. And but just
Yeah.
like one quick question, yours will they might think of this. Is it like within terms of service kind of thing? This is kind of important for sellers, I know. So I'm just curious.
It's within terms of service. I mean, we've done over a million orders. We've done over 10,000 campaigns. Haven't had any compliancy issues. And so I always say, Amazon and other marketplaces want to have the customer experience. It's the most important thing is to continue to optimize the customer experience. So you don't want to rank irrelevant keywords that aren't, relevant to your product. You don't want to manipulate the ranking algorithm or have fake reviews and all that kind of stuff. We don't do any of that. We're focused solely on getting sales, which are inherently tied to the ranking algorithm. You can't have increase in sales velocity without increasing ranking. And then also just improving the product listing and the actual physical product, right? And so we're staying focused on that. And that has kept us in good terms with Amazon. So to answer your question, I mean, their terms are, I think everybody knows, a bit ambiguous, but we do believe it's fully compliant, and we haven't had any issues over the last 5 years since we launched.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. Just wanted to ask you also when you started, so you kind of answered that in your answer to the previous question. So
Yeah.
yeah, a few good years.
Yeah, it feels like a long time. I mean, we launched the tech in December of 21, but we've been doing the service since really late 2019. And it started as an agency, quickly took off, and the only way to scale, we kept capping out bandwidth, trying to use spreadsheets and just hodgepodge things together. And so we started building the tech in around 2019 and then launched in 2021. And then since then I exited my business in 21 just to kind of finish the development of the platform, and have, invested millions into both the B2B side and the B2C side. And the result, I think, is a pretty awesome technology.
Nice, man. Nice, nice. Glad for your
Yeah.
results. That's inspiring, man. And
Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. All right, so let's show people how it looks from the inside, like what happens, how do they go maybe through the registration,
Mhm.
or like, so just this video helps, like, I would say, for a new user who's interested and they want to go omni-channel or they want to increase
For
sales
sure.
or whatnot. How can they do that? Can show them. Hmm.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to start with kind of a discovery and then a hybrid discovery demo, if that makes sense. So kind of just share a little bit about us, and then we'll dive into an actual demo here shortly. So if that's cool with you, Bubba.
Yeah, yeah, let's go, man. Let's go. Excited for that.
Cool, man.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. So we consider ourselves e-commerce sales acceleration software. We do launches for Amazon is definitely the primary one. About 60% of our campaigns are Amazon, also
Mm.
Walmart, Target, TikTok, Etsy, Chewy. When we started, it was probably closer to 80 to 90% Amazon,
Hmm.
but we're seeing a lot of migration to Omni, and that's kind of what we anticipated. So the technology works great for any of those platforms. I'll just breeze through this. I'm going to go through all of this, but a little bit about us. So again, boost traffic, sales, feedback, and search optimizations for brands on Amazon, Walmart, Target, TikTok, Etsy, Chewy, and more. We've done over 1 million orders, over 1.3 million shoppers visited our partner marketplace, our deal site, over the last 30 days. And really, we target high intent shoppers to purchase a review. When I say review, it means on marketplaces outside Amazon, we do what we call review requests. And so they're completely transparent, honest reviews. There's no incentive attached to them. So we stay completely compliant. We don't do it for Amazon because Amazon's a little crazy with reviews, for a good reason. There's obviously a lot of manipulation with reviews. So we don't do it for Amazon, but we do it for other marketplaces. And it's just a request. We don't guarantee anything. And then we get feedback summarized with AI for all the marketplaces. And the feedback is the platform feedback. So they actually do it through our technology, which I'll show you in a second. And then that again is summarized with AI, and the result is explosive growth for your brands. A couple
Hmm.
stats down here. Done a lot over the years. We have a lot of good results as well. We did a comprehensive case study of 1,000 campaigns. We're actually working on another one that I think is closer to 7,000 campaigns, essentially looking at all the results of them. And we see 2 to 15x return on ad spend on average, and top 10% of our campaigns really are enterprise level clients that we bring onto Slack. We have a private channel for them. We really see high returns for those sellers in particular.
So that means that, let's say someone launches a campaign of $10,000 worth, right? That's the marketing they're investing with you. So that
Yep.
means their lift in sales after that campaign is the kind of the ROAS we're talking about, or like
Yeah.
direct.
Yeah, I appreciate you pausing on that because we get that question a lot. What we did to calculate this is, with the comprehensive case study, we looked at the cost of using our technology, the cost of the actual ad cost of sale, so what you're funneling through to the buyer for the feedback and the sale, and all of the costs that are associated with that. And then we look at the BSR increase, right? How many sales you're getting before you drive
Hmm.
sales from our tech,
Hmm.
and then how many
Hmm.
sales you're getting after, and then that all factors into the ROAS. So if you spend
Yeah.
10,000 on
Hmm.
average, you're going to get 20 to 150,000 in sales as a result of that campaign. That's what we see.
Hmm. Okay, that's more clear. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, oh, ROAS is not necessarily as relevant as ROI, which is fair. Of course, we don't have data to the cost of goods sold and stuff like that of the product.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of sellers will see that return is pretty good, especially it doesn't factor in the opportunity cost, right? If you spend 6 months launching a campaign versus 6 weeks, you're making a lot more sales at a lot sooner. And so the long-term return is actually much higher because of that opportunity cost and then also
I see what you
extending
mean.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and everybody knows, the honeymoon period is super important. And also it's important to mention there's a lot of other use cases. If it's a seasonal product or they run out of stock, or maybe they run out of inventory, or it's a new product, or they just want to, maybe they're accruing long-term storage fees and they need to get,
Ooh,
products out of
interesting.
the
Yeah.
warehouse. Yeah, so there's a lot of different use cases. It's not just new product launches. So I know a lot of sellers think, oh, well, I don't have to do a launch. I only do one every quarter. And it's like the use case is actually much bigger. Do you see the same returns? Not necessarily, but what we
Hmm.
saw is for this comprehensive case study, we found that new products have about 140% lift in BSR, whereas really older products have about a 90% lift.
Hmm.
So there are diminishing returns the older it is, which makes
Yeah.
sense, right? There's more
Yeah.
data that's baked
Yes.
into the product, but it's still effective for other use cases.
Hmm. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Core values, I'll just skip through these really quick. This is important for especially our premium and enterprise sellers. We bring them on. I call it a software as a service, not a software as a service, because we came from an agency world, and so we really mesh those together, and we really care about our client success. And so that's our number one focus is we want to deliver the highest returns with the least amount of effort for our clients. And then really anything, all of our profits are reinvested into technology. So we literally just coast at a break even. If we start widening our margins, that's all going back into the tech to deliver more value to the sellers. Partnerships, we've had brands that we've worked with literally since before we even had technology. And so we really value long-term partnerships and really being an extension of somebody's agency or brand and helping them get to their dream valuation. We had a brand that we launched within 6 months. I believe their valuation was at 20 or 30 million. And it was a
Hmm.
new product. And so we love to just see these stories and be a part of the success journey of a lot of our partners. And then excellence, my team knows we're as close to perfect as we can get without being, too far
Hmm.
overboard. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and so everything we do is, we don't release anything unless we know it's going to really deliver value. So, okay, I'll jump into a demo now. We have an interactive demo on the platform, which I'll show you in a second. Here's all the pricing, and we'll jump into this a little bit later. It'll make more
Hmm.
sense once we go through a demo. So
Hmm.
this is our demo account. So when you come in, this will obviously be blank because you haven't done campaigns. But as you start to sell more units, this will fill up. We have what we call scheduled units versus actual or total orders. So this is stating, we tried to sell 1,022 units in June, and we've sold 985, right? And that's because we're pushing the offer to our network, our deal network. And then, of course, not 100% of the buyers might not buy it, but we try to get as close to 100% as possible. This is all the feedback that comes in. So across any marketplace, you get feedback from our buyers. And so this is showing here. Well, I'll show you a better version of this. This is kind of like a dashboard summary of everything. We have keyword ranking also that shows here. And that's under analytics. And by the way, we have our senior developers working on what we call an API rebuild to really spice this up more. It definitely could use a facelift, but it's highly functional. We just need to kind of
Hmm.
do a rebuild on the front end because we've done so much work on the back end and work over the years. So that new API should go live, fingers crossed, by the end of the year, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so when you come in, the first thing you want to do is, I think we can do this, yeah. So you actually see these pop-ups and you can walk
Hmm.
around and go through the different areas
Hmm.
if you want to do that. And then also when you log in first, it will have an interactive demo that kind of holds your hand through the most important steps. So the most important steps are going to be importing a product, right?
Hmm.
And so you would add a product here. I'm just going to pull up a random product on Amazon. You could do Walmart, you can do Etsy, Target. These are all platforms we auto scrape from.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you can do other. So if it's like Chewy or another marketplace, you could just manually fill in all this information and it works the same. So import from Amazon. And so this is going and fetching all that information without an API integration. And so depending on how many variants there are, it might take a little bit longer. So you just got to keep that in mind. But usually it's within, I would say, 20 seconds, even if it has like 100 variants. So So we can choose the variant, just kind of randomly chose that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to load all the images in there. And then we want to enter the sold by. For this one, it's Amazon. Looks like, okay, we'll try that out. And then electronics, and then repeat buyers. So because there's going to be a discount component, we got to make sure that the buyers aren't going to abuse that. So we have this feature in here. So this is saying, for example, Vova can buy this once every 30 days, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
to spread the love, I guess, and not have repeat buyers. And then once you have all that done, go ahead and add products. And then the product will show here. I'll just show really quick. It's taking you to the launch because that's really the next step, but you can see it here under your products. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
click launch. These are the two different launches I talked about in the beginning. So promotional claim codes, it's going to use single or group claim codes for passing that essentially to the deal site, which I'll show in a second. Organic launch is going to have that cashback component on the feedback of the listing and the product itself. And so this is the most popular one. This is going to have, I always say this is a higher cost, but a much higher return. This is a lower cost, lower return. You're not going to have explosive sales, but you can have sales trickling in, and the cost is going to be lower. You're going to have higher margins, but it's not going to create this explosive type of growth. So generally, we see organic launch here. We're seeing a lot more promo launches because we are emphasizing using the tech as more of a longer term solution where you're just continually driving traffic and not
Mm.
necessarily creating an explosive launch. So I picked a weird one, a weird sold by. Let me see if this is a. The reason why it has to match it up is we have what's called an auto launch approval process. And if all of the product specifics line up, it will enable auto launch approval, which means you can launch instantly, essentially. And this sold by is a bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'll get it here, but so if you match this up, what you'll
Mm-hmm.
do is you'll be able to launch instantly, and most of the time it will all match up. So here's the ACOS component. So you can go low, you can go high, whatever you want. This is really going to be what you're offering for the buyer for that purchase, for that feedback on the listing and the post delivery. And so generally we see, I would say 70, 90, 100 is really highly desirable. This is for like niche products, maybe like testosterone boosters. I always use that example, or like supplements that are difficult to move in higher quantities. But you can play around with this at any point during the launch. You can pause it and adjust this, and then push it live instantly. So we'll just do an
Mm.
example here at 90.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a coupon on the listing itself, you could flip this on. So those little green coupons, right? You could, like, it was $5, and that will come out of the cost here. Let me just put a unit here just to kind of show you what that looks like. So the product cost would be 40 rather than 45. This product doesn't have a coupon, so I'm going to take it off. And then all
Mm-hmm.
the fees are transparent up here, so you can see what you're paying. True cost here, we wanted to really emphasize that you're getting the sale on the platform, and so the true cost is actually much lower. The campaign cost is going to be here, but of course you get, $49.95 sale on Amazon, for example, on this example. Okay, let's move forward. A lot of different types of launches you can do. Which one's my favorite? Yeah, I like the linear. So a lot of times you'll see the average campaign is about 15 days, and the average size is about 130 units. That was based on a comprehensive case study. So you could start here and then work your way up, right? So this is really popular, especially for new products. You kind of build up the sales velocity in an
Mm.
organic way. And so this is going to release a certain number of units each day to the deal site. And then of course the buyers are either going to purchase them or they're not going to purchase them. So we're trying to get to 100%. And we have teams in place. We call it the STR boost team, the sell through rate boost team, that they'll try to share the deal if it's not hitting at 100%. They'll go to the network and say, hey, anybody interested in this? And we'll use email and other methods to kind of push the product. We also have this, of course, I have to upgrade on the evergreen feature where
Mm-hmm.
you can extend the launch for up to 50% of your initial units. So I'd be able to do 90 units, up to 10 per day for really indefinitely at half the cost. And that's just to keep sales trickling in and not to stop it abruptly without it costing a lot of money. So that's a great feature, and that's on our paid plan
Mm-hmm.
once you upgrade to premium and enterprise. Two methods here. So organic is going to show the title and the image of the product so that they can find it, they can review the listing, give feedback on it. You can play around with this, choose whatever you want, probably your most relevant keywords that you can choose. Or if you want to do a direct link, you can do that. It's just going to default to direct link. Of course, this isn't going to help necessarily on a keyword or a micro level, but it's still going to drive sales. It's still going to help increase, sales velocity and ranking. Or you can put a different type of link in there, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whatever your strategy is and your risk averse and however comfortable you are. And it also differs with each marketplace, right? Each marketplace has their own set of rules. So whatever you're comfortable with, I would say most do the organic, but we also see a lot of different links that are being used as well. So we could use this as an example. And
So,
I'll show you what this looks like on the deal
mm,
side here in a second. It'll make sense. Mhm.
so for this part set, I mean, maybe sellers are, they might think, or in this point, like about I think I've asked it before in a way, like, is it TOS compliant and all that? So, or it's just like anyone chooses their own level of risks they want to take across different marketplaces with this, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's the last piece. So every marketplace is different, and this is a full omni-channel solution. And
mm-hmm,
so really you're responsible for whatever level of risk you want to take. You can do a direct link. This is absolutely perfectly fine because you're just driving it directly to the product. But then some brands are going to be like, well, it's not as intentional. I'm not, and it's like, well, you can play with that level if you want. Again, we've done over 1 million orders without any issues. And so it's very hard to skirt around Amazon's terms when they're so ambiguous. And so we get this question more than I care, would like, to be honest,
I
but
understand.
it's a fair question. It's a fair question. And it's one of the bigger objections that we have to handle. But I would say whatever you're comfortable with, and know that we're looking out for your best interest. We're always doing everything possible to stay compliant, and we have a pretty good track record. So,
I hear you, man. Well, thanks for sharing. Yeah.
of
Okay. So
course,
from
yeah.
here, we have again the organic, so that people type in the
Mhm.
keywords and find the product, or link, which is straight direct link to the product. And you can change
Mhm.
the
You
structure
can
of the
choose
link as
whatever
well.
you want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it depends too in the marketplace. Again, we're seeing more and more omni. And
Mm-hmm.
so Walmart doesn't have the same type of policies that Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really just depends on what marketplace you're on. For this, we could just do direct link. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
drive the traffic directly there. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to fill out, I'll show you here in a second, the listing survey, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to buy the product, then do post delivery feedback on it. Okay, so wallet, a couple different things you can do. So when you set up a wallet, you can either do a credit card. That's going to do an auto reload at the end of every night just for the next day's campaigns. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
great way to be cash flow neutral, I guess, where you're never spending more than your next day's sales, essentially. Or you can do an ACH, and we just pushed an auto ACH reload feature so that either you can do it manually, push a certain amount to your wallet, or the system will auto charge the ACH. And you can do a threshold where if it drops below a certain amount, it'll auto reload a certain amount. For example, if it drops below 5,000, we load 5,000. Yeah. So a lot of different things that you can do, but you just choose whatever wallet makes sense for you. And we also see agencies. We have a lot of agencies that use the tech. We do see them use the wallets for different brands. So it really just depends, whatever makes sense. And then this is I was messing with the sold by, but
Mm-hmm.
if you have the sold by correct
Mm-hmm.
here, it will do an auto launch. So when you get to that stage,
Mm-hmm.
it will show green, and then you can do submit launch, and it automatically goes to our deal site here. I'll show let me show the deal site now, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
show what it looks like on the launch dashboard. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the deal site. We spend as much time on this. I think we're over 20 million now in cash back. So it's typical, we're trying to go in the direction of, I would say, Slick Deals or Rakuten. Ibotta is another one. There's a lot of these big deal sites, and that's kind of the direction we're looking to take, where we can help shoppers save money on everyday products for providing valuable feedback to sellers. The marketplace looks like this. So we have what we call deal coins, and they choose the product based on the ACoS that the seller is showing. If it's a desirable product that they want, they'll click on it. They can filter based on category or deal type and stuff like that. If you want the shower curtain, click on that. You can claim the deal. You can put it on wish list so they can essentially get reminded if the deal comes back or if it's out of stock. A lot of times, something might be sold out, and so they can wish list it. If we want to claim it, we click claim. So this is the process where they're getting to the product. So they can use the direct link like we showed on the setup, and then they're given essentially instructions like on how to follow, make sure the ID matches, right? We show the last 3 digits of the ASIN to ensure everything matches, and just say like, don't use subscribe and save, it's to whatever. So we just have instructions for them. And then this is the feedback that they're going to be sharing. So they're going to talk about their experience on the listing, and then they're going to be have to give feedback here. And we're actually building a feature very soon that will grade their feedback using AI, a prompt that we're going to create. And so they're going to get a certain grade, like an A, B, C, D, or F, their quality of their feedback. And so this is really going to make, I'll show you in a second, the dashboard really come to life in terms of the value that the buyers will be able to provide to the brands. Last step here is the order. So they're going to put in an order number. They're going to provide proof of purchase. And then at this point, they don't get any coins, right? So the emphasis is not on the actual purchase. That's important for compliancy. At this point, when they submit, this is when they get the coins. So once they receive the product, about, I think this comes up 7 days later, they're eligible to leave post-delivery survey. And so they're going to rate their experience with the delivery, all these areas, explain why they gave it these ratings. And again, we're going to grade this. And then all that's going to be summarized and pushed back using AI. So for example, we had, I think, 190 units that we did in that demo launch. That means that up to 190 shoppers are going to go through this process, leave feedback on the listing, leave post-delivery feedback. And we're going to grade the quality so we know that it's going to continuously improve. And then we're going to take AI and we're going to summarize all of that and present it to the seller. So this is now finishes that process. And then this is the dashboard that the sellers see. So this looks familiar, right? This is scheduled versus actual. And then this is all the feedback that's coming through. So you have the summary here of the product listing, right? And it's really going to tell them how to improve the areas of their listing to improve the customer's experience. And then this is the post-delivery. And again, it's going to be summarized and tell them how to improve that. If there's things like, oh, there were broken bottles, or maybe they received the wrong product and they need to do a bin check at Amazon, they can do that. But all of that feedback is going to be nicely summarized. And then all the feedback, they can also go through it all, and they can export it too, download all the feedback and comb through it. And so that, really helps. A lot of these marketplaces, and I'm not going to name names, but they have put a really thick, veil between the seller and the brand, or I'm sorry, the brand and the customer. And we want to kind of pull that back a little bit and say, well, the brands also need to have feedback. They need to have transparent communication with the buyers to ensure that they're continuously improving their listing and their product. And so that's really what we're aiming for. And we know that in order to create explosive growth, you have to have that feedback sooner than later. And that's kind of what we're pushing for. And then you can see all the orders down here coming in. And so, yeah, that's really it. And then there's other features as well. Orders, analytics. If we jump over to, this is the production. So you can see keyword tracking. This is just pretty generic keyword tracking tool where you see the different rankings of the keywords that comes up. This is a demo account, but this would, if this was your account, it would be, all filled in with the different rankings of the different keywords. We have a keyword index checker as well. And we have a lot of great features in the pipeline that we're going to continue to push out. And everything is going to, again, focus on how to improve your sales, your listing, and quality of the product. And so that's about it. Affiliate program. I don't know if you want to cover this on the call. If you want, we can roll through that.
Yeah. So why not? Maybe whoever's gonna join, I don't know if you have sub affiliate, but you know what I mean? Like if an affiliate brings an affiliate, I don't think you have that, right? 'Cause,
Yeah,
this is like,
I don't think so. Yeah.
yeah. But it's all right, man. We can share it as well. Maybe, more affiliates will come.
Yeah,
So let's do it.
I'll just breeze through it. So like whenever you sign up, you're going to have the ability to become an affiliate. These are just the default plans. So you can either get 20% commission, and I'll show the pricing here in a second here. So you can get 20% commission on anyone who signs up for a paid plan, or you can do what we call a 10-10, which is a 10% commission with a 10% off for your referrals, or you can just do 20% off for your referrals. And then the option D that we had chatted about, Vova, is the ability to get 5% on transactions and 10% on subscriptions. And the reason that's important is because we have a freemium model, and so anyone can sign up for free. So you would get 5% of the transactions that come through there. And then also, if they sign up for a paid plan, you get 10% of that, and you get 5% for life. So if you bring somebody over and they continue to stay active, you will just continuously get that 5%. And I explained that when you and I were talking, it's typically about $5,000 to $10,000 in sales on average. We have some brands that do over 100,000 in sales a month through the platform. And so if you refer one of those brands, that's $5,000 continuously every month in just transactions, not even subscription. So the way the pricing works, I'll just jump over to that. We have a rev share model. So it's more complicated than it looks. It's very simple. You either choose a variable rev share or a fixed. And this is the cost per transaction, right? And the transactions are, like we talked about, it's getting that feedback, getting that sale, and getting the post-delivery feedback as well. And so you can either do a flat $6.95 or 25%. If your product cost on average is $30 or higher, it makes more sense to do a fixed. If it's lower than 30, which most products are, I think our average is $22, then a variable makes sense. It comes out to be cheaper. And then we have a min and a max just to protect both of us. We have a lower end that we need to protect so that we don't charge too little. And then an upper end. So if you have like $100 product, we're not charging more than $12.95. So, and then of course, as you get on higher plans, you do pay a monthly subscription. The premium is a month to month. It doesn't require an annual commitment. Enterprise requires annual contracts because at this point, I'll talk about that in a second, actually. On the premium, the benefits, you get keyword tracking, indexing. We had talked about the evergreen feature with the green bars that you can extend the launch. You have monthly support calls. We're going to talk about, this comprehensive case study, the latest strategies that people are using, and essentially how can you get more return on your investment. And we're going to do those monthly. And then on the enterprise, the big benefit here is we bring you onto a private Slack channel. You have access to chat with me, with Nicole, our director of growth, and a couple of success reps and e-commerce experts. And at this point, we serve more as a growth partner, an extension of your agency or your brand. And then we also have what we call the BLAST program, which is the Brand Expand Launch Assistance and Sell-Through program. So we'll set up launches for you. We'll recommend best practices, and we'll even try to push sales at the end of the day, which is the sell-through portion. We have a team called the STR Boost team that will try to push units at the end of the day so that we can get as many sales as possible, which helps improve your listing optimization and ranking. And so that's it. So we go all the way to an enterprise 5. So we have 5 different enterprise tiers. It really just depends on the size of your agency or brand. Obviously, the larger aggregators and generally agencies with 100 million under management are going to be on an enterprise 4 or 5. But if you're doing above $1 million in sales, you generally will fall either on premium or enterprise. And then above 5 to 10 million in annual sales, you generally start to come on the enterprise plan. That's where it's actually more beneficial based on our rev share to be on these higher plans. You're actually going to save more money and it's going to have a higher return because of all the added support and the lower costs. So hopefully that makes sense. There's a lot of information. And we're happy to talk with anybody and review all of this in more detail. And then there's other things as well. I'm not going to go through all of this. It'll take quite a while, but these are all the features that we offer. Anybody can go through and kind of see all the details with them. Review requests. So again, these are on marketplaces, all marketplaces but Amazon. And it's a rev share for each review request. And we generally see about a 20 to 50% review rate, depending on the quality of the product, the desirability, and the marketplace. And so if you do the math, it really comes out to like $8 to $10 for reviews. So it's a very inexpensive way. And I always tell sellers, like, if you're not on Walmart, just do it, because Walmart has the same revenue as Amazon, at least as of like 2024. It's just 90% brick and mortar. And so they're going to have to make a transition to e-commerce. Otherwise, they'll inevitably die because, like 90% of products are going to be sold online by 2040. So I always tell people get on at Walmart. There's not a lot of reviews. So you have the opportunity to get on there, start building social proof and establishing yourself in a specific niche. And then if they do survive, which I think Walmart will, then you're going to really be positioned to kick ass. Really good opportunity to jump on Walmart and any other marketplace, right? If you're like selling pet products, get on Chewy, try it out. If you're selling supplements, get on iHerb, stuff like that. So, and then we can help with social proof, instant launch approvals. So you can push stuff immediately to our network. That's included on paid plans. It's just a little bit extra on the freemium. And then all the good stuff, different type of buyer purchasing controls, keyword tracking, indexing comes on the paid plans. And again, I'll let your followers go through and check it out and jump on a call with us if you want. Go to request demo. This is just going to pre-qualify and put you into one of our workflows to make sure you get all the content you need to learn about our services and get on a call with our team and hopefully, start crushing sales.
Yeah, we're gonna have in the description a link, or if it's around the blog somewhere here, to sign up for Brand Expand, and we'll try to plug in the best offer possible for the viewers. It's gonna be explained in the description. What do you think, yeah, man?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. What we'll do for your followers is we can create a promo when they sign up that'll actually put money in their wallet. And so we'll do $100 free, $100 that when you sign up will automatically go into your wallet and you can try the tech for literally for free. And that'll just help people, everybody wants to kind of try it out first, which we totally understand. So we'll give you a code that your followers can just put in there, get $100, and then of course you'll have affiliate attached to that, and then everybody wins.
Thank you, man. That's a pretty generous offer. Is this gonna be like a link that we'll include a link, but is there a code that somewhere in the sign up process people can add, or it's only a link so we understand?
I think we could create just a link for you to make it simple, but if not, it'll be an affiliate link, and then you just put a code during sign up. So if we go in, actually, let me do my staging here. So you can go free, let's say sign up for free. You're just going to put in all your details. Sorry, peeps.
Promo code, yeah.
Yeah, promo code here. So whatever it is, apply. It's like, okay, that's not right. But yeah, we'll give you a promo code that works. And then what it will do is when you get into the site, you'll see that money in the wallet automatically. And then this is where you pick that fixed or variable. And again, at $30, if your product price on average is higher than 30, just choose fixed. If it's lower than $30 on average, just choose variable. It'll be more beneficial. So, and then you can complete. And then I think there's a quick survey that I'll just make sure I show the full bit here.
Yeah, in the codes field, we're gonna, of course, update the relevant code in the description. I think we can make it VOVA, VOVA, to make it easy for the viewers, listeners.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Okay, so when you log in, the first thing you'll see is, again, it'll have like a brief survey just so that we can ensure, we know more about your account and we can reach out to you. And then once you're done with that, you'll see your wallet and it'll have $100 in there, and you can do as little or big of a launch as you want. I mean, if you have like a $20 product, you want to do 100% ACOS, you could do 5 sales for free. Hopefully you'll use the tech more frequently if you see the value we can provide. But yeah, we're happy to do some free sales just to show your viewers how everything works.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're going to have, again, in the description, the best offer plus the code. And yeah, as far as like, I understand, like it's, we as sellers decide in a way how much risk we want to do. So for example, if we feel like we want to use a link to our page on Amazon, say, or somewhere, then we do it. But as far as I understand, Brand Expand, it's offering the technology, but if anything happens with the marketplace, which I understand you didn't have these problems, but still it's up to the seller eventually, right? Like kind of thing, right? It's like, I don't know, using a freight forwarder, like, yeah, they give you the ship, or they give you the, logistics part. But if, the ship sinks and you didn't buy the insurance, then, or something around these lines, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is something that towards the beginning, we stress about all the time, but we've done a lot. We've spent so much time and energy to ensure we build something as compliant as we possibly can. But at the end of the day, it is up to the seller and whatever level of risk they're comfortable with. Whether that's a perceived or real risk is really up for interpretation. You know what I mean? But if you want to do a direct link, do that. Just whatever comfort level you have. We have multinational brands that if you saw them, that use the technology, and we've helped what they call product seeding, which is becoming more and more common. Especially like this has been around in physical storefronts for decades. What they call product seeding, where they have mystery shoppers go in, get the product, they get a discount, they talk about the product with their friends and family, and that's really what we're building for e-commerce, right? And so it's not going away. Everybody's going to need customers. Everybody's going to need feedback. They're going to need to have that transparency between customer and brand. The result of that's going to increase sales visibility, sales ranking. They're going to talk about with friends and family, and hopefully that will ignite more and more sales. So, anyways, I know it's a long-winded answer, but it is up to the brand at the end of the day, whatever you're comfortable with. And I think once you start using it, you'll get more comfortable, and then you can choose whatever strategy works for you.
Yeah, thanks for
So,
sharing that, man.
of course,
Awesome.
man.
So maybe there's something I should have asked you and have not. Maybe there's a popular question that I'm missing and but you're getting it like every day or something you want to share more. Please do, man. Maybe I've asked you
Actually,
about the compliance thing, which I guess is quite a common question. We did show like, the product appears on the deals website. Maybe this next question, like if you still have a few minutes, like you say
of course, sure.
we want to aim at 15 sales a day. How do we know that it actually gets the 15 sales a day? Or maybe
Yeah,
it's
no,
more.
great.
Maybe people are looking for 1,000 sales a day, right? They're going super strong, so or something like
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, we have some. I would say that the most we generally see is like 50 to 70 a day. I mean, above that is really not even necessary for even the most competitive products.
Mm-hmm.
Going above 50 generally isn't even necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say is, yeah, so on the dashboard where you see the scheduled versus actual, so we're releasing that many units that you want. So in your example, I think you said like 11, 10 or 11 or
Mm-hmm.
15, we would release 15 and we actually use day parting. So it doesn't just flood the deal site all at once. We're dropping units and we use a sophisticated normal distribution. So it's actually follows the organic way that buyers purchase, right? And so this is all about creating the most organic experience possible. Just like I use the mystery shopper example in physical stores, they want them to go in and create this organic experience. We're trying to do the same online. So we drop the units organically throughout the day in kind of a normal distribution, and then the buyers, if they want the product, they're going to grab it and they're going to go through the process. And of course, we're going to try to get you 15 sales, but maybe we'll get you 13, and so that will show on your dashboard. It'll show 15 scheduled, 13 actual orders. You know what I mean? And then you'll see the orders, you'll see the order number, you'll see the buyer name, real buyers, like not fake, there's nothing fake going on. And so they're purchasing and you can see them. And then you can tie that to your Seller Central or Walmart Seller Center and make sure that it's the right buyer, it's a true buyer, and then reconcile it that way if you want.
Can we communicate with the people through the platform? Like just send them a message like, "Hey, thank you for purchasing," or is there like, should we? What do you think? Like,
That's a great question. Yeah. So we've actually talked a lot about creating more communication, but for now we don't. And the reason is if we have this, what we call a rogue buyer that's like going off the rails or like upset about something, our policy on the deal side is you need to communicate with us before you even go to the seller because we don't want
mm,
them to bother you. We don't want them to complain to your support team. Like it needs to be as stress-free as possible for you. And so they'll come to
mm,
us, they'll say, oh, this was broken, or I got the wrong product, or whatever, you know what I mean? So, and then we'll say, okay, well, we'll communicate with the seller, go ahead and reorder the product or whatever the seller decides. We'll talk with them first. And then, they can have Amazon do a bin check or they can make sure that their product packaging is better. But we facilitate the communication right now because again, we just don't want to put that stress on sellers if it's unnecessary. But it's something that we've discussed. You can do what we call blacklisting, which if there's a buyer that's giving your support trouble or has returned an item, we do not see returns very frequently because it's a big no-no in our deal marketplace. And our community knows like we're not messing around. So if they return or cancel an item, they're blacklisted.
mhm.
And on our deal site, it's like a Fort Knox. Like if you get kicked out, we know your IP, we know your hardware, we cross-reference things using a separate technology that's a very big company. And so we will kick you out and you can't get back in. You can't use a VPN, you can't go to another country and like try to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're out, right? So, and I say all that because it's really important. A lot of sellers that use this type of service, it's important that they have high quality buyers that have a high quality score. And so we want to ensure that. And then part of our service is providing the highest value to our sellers. And part of that is taking all the support on ourselves with our buyers.
But then if a refund happens, like unfortunately
Yep.
someone refunds, so do we see it in our dashboard, like an order was refunded? So if a
You
buyer
can,
refunded,
yeah.
like or returned or
Yeah.
something after a while.
Yeah, if that happens, you actually can click on the dashboard and mention it was refunded, and
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to do a replacement. And again, or you could just message our team and be like, "Hey, this was returned, and we're going to eat the cost and do a replacement for
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
and suspend or blacklist that buyer." Again, I don't remember the last time we've gotten an email. It used to happen a lot. And when we were an agency, if you can imagine, before we had this type of technology, I mean, one of the reasons we built it was because of this reason is
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole network of buyers that are trying to abuse this type of system. And when we had just an agency, and this is what I say for anybody who uses an agency for this type of service, I'm like, it's very, very difficult to ensure these buyers are acting in your best interest for your brands because they have a lot of different strategies and tactics they use to kind of skirt around your policies, to use, Amazon gift cards so they can return later. Like there's a lot of different strategies that they use. And we know them all because we've been doing this for, 7 years now with our agency and now our tech. But if we didn't have the technology, it would be extremely difficult to
Mm-hmm.
prevent any of this. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah,
here.
you can just communicate with us and
Mhm.
we'll replace the product. Or there's something on your dashboard that you could click and it tells us that it was returned.
Nice, man. And also, there were some websites listed when we were scraping the data of the images and all that. But let's say we want to omni-channel, right? Does it go for any sort of marketplace, any
Mhm.
website? If I want to get more sales on my personal Shopify website or something, is this
100%.
still doable?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We've done Shopify launches. I think we've done over 25 channels. And so you would just choose other and you would
Mm-hmm.
enter in all the details for your product
Mm-hmm.
and import it the same way. And I mean, if you can imagine, we're leveraging, our deal network over 1.3 million visits last 30 days, leveraging all of that traffic, and we're just sending it to wherever you want, right? So you could send it to a Shopify store, you could send it to a Chewy store. We've done, I think, Home Depot. If you're a seller on Home Depot, they have third-party sellers now.
Mm.
Really, anywhere you're selling, we'll send traffic. We can help, boost search visibility for your product, make sure more organic buyers can find your product, make sure your listing looks nice, your delivery looks nice, right? All that. It applies the same for any marketplace. It's very, very similar. And so we can easily leverage the same methods that we've built for Amazon and other big marketplaces and go anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I'll remind our viewers again you have a link for the best offer, like basically $100 to test out the platform for free, which is pretty cool, I think. And we're gonna have a promo code, coupon code, and the link. So again, it's an affiliate link, means that if you ever do business with the guys, I'm gonna get a little commission from the deal, no extra cost to you. And thank you for supporting. We're doing all this for free. We don't charge for the interviews, nothing. We're just trying to connect software creators, services, agencies, kind of trying to help within that selling network. Not only Amazon, it seems now a good, because I've so many good partnerships happen with like different people who create stuff for not only Amazon, like Shopify and Walmart. And so I'm really grateful for the support. Yeah, man, unless you want to add something, we're gonna step by step wrap it up. And if the viewers, anyone wants to ask questions, something is unclear, drop comments. We'll answer them. This will help other potential people with the same question. But yeah, man, Seth, would you want to add anything else?
I think we're good, man. I think we covered everything. I just want to thank you because when I started, it was guys like you that took time and didn't charge for their services to spread value and help people, figure out how to sell on platforms. And I remember when I was starting in 2014, just bootstrapping with $1,000 of my savings, I would go around to all these videos and try to figure out like how to do everything and stitch it all together, and relied on guys like you who are super generous with your time and your knowledge. So I just want to thank you for all that you do and all the value you provide. And yeah, hopefully we can continue to collaborate.
Yeah, let's go, man. Thank you a lot for the feedback and your words. And yeah,
Of
wishing
course.
you a good day and weekend. And our viewers also have a good day. Keep
Thanks,
going,
Volkan.
keep selling, and let's grow together. And should be good, I believe. So yeah,
Let's do it. Thanks so
thank
much,
you.
Vova. Thanks,
Thank you, man.
everyone. Cheers.